Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Entering a realm between the hidden and forgotten, a slipstream caught between realities, a secret museum of the esoteric, the private library of shadows, all taking place in a world forged from mystery and caught between logic and myth. You are entering Parareality.
Hello and welcome to the mysterious world of Parareality, a reality where the unknown meets the unexplained and everything is a mystery. I'm Sandman, and I'm your host. Welcome, seekers of the strange and explorers of the unknown, to another episode of Parareality, the podcast that takes you beyond the edge of science, past the borders of belief, and deep into the shadows where mysteries roam free. If you've been a listener of this podcast over the years, you know that every summer I do what I call a summer series, where I take a particular topic and I devote a series of episodes to it, usually 3 in the months of June, July, and August. Well, tonight is the start of that series, and the topic this year is Bigfoot. Man, I haven't talked about the big hairy guy in a while, and after attending the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival last month, I thought that old Sasquatch would make a great summer series topic. So tonight, we're venturing into the heart of Bigfoot country. You've heard the stories, the footprints, the howls, the fleeting shadows caught on camera. But how many people are actually willing to pack up their gear, head into the woods, and chase those legends night after night? Well, my guest tonight does exactly that. His name is Mike Familiant, and he's the creator and star of the popular YouTube series In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. Mike isn't just another weekend enthusiast. Oh, no. He's an adventurer, he's a researcher, and a boots-on-the-ground investigator who's dedicated years of his life to uncovering the truth about the elusive creature we call Bigfoot. Through his YouTube channel and live expeditions, Mike has documented evidence, shared encounters, and brought us right into the field alongside him. His approach is raw, authentic, and driven by an unshakable passion to separate fact from folklore. Tonight, Mike and I will dig into his wildest adventures, his most compelling evidence, and what it really takes to search for Sasquatch in the unforgiving wilderness. From New Jersey to the backwoods of Appalachia, Mike has followed the trail of Bigfoot, and tonight we're going with him. So settle in, grab your favorite drink, and get ready to peer into the shadows where the big red eye just might be watching you. To learn more, you'll have to tune in, and find out. Now, just for to be 100% transparent, this is an earlier interview that I did back at the end of April of this year, right before we were getting ready to go to the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival. At that time, I didn't know when I was going to be able to air this. So this isn't an interview where he's sitting right here beside me in the studio. As a matter of fact, I packed up my mobile podcast equipment and took it over to his Airbnb where he was staying. So there's we had a little bit of trouble with getting the equipment dialed in correctly. So there's a couple of little audio glitches here and there. But overall, I think it was a great interview. It was wonderful to see my buddy, someone who I could call a personal friend of mine, Mr. Mike Familiant. But of course, before we get into that interview, it's time to welcome some new followers of the podcast. I want to take a moment to recognize Reddy Boops, Luxon Manvidizi, and the Hallowed Widow. I want to thank all three of you for the follow. Now, everybody, I've got close to 3,000 followers. So if you're a regular listener to this podcast and you're not regularly following me, or if you are a first-time listener of this podcast and you're not regularly following me, I would ask that you please follow the podcast and tell all your friends that you found a great alternate topic. Some people call it paranormal podcast. Some people call it conspiracy theory podcast. I like to call them alternative topics. But if you're into this kind of stuff, whether it's cryptids, UFOs, aliens, ghosts, stuff like that, unsolved mysteries, this is the podcast for you. So if you're listening to this podcast and you're not a regular follower, please be sure to do so. I think you'll find that this podcast differs from others like it by offering a different point of view from the norm. I don't have a preset agenda with this. I simply present to you, the listener, my evidence, and I let you make up your own mind as to whether you want to believe it or not. If you want to, do your own investigation. That's what I encourage you to do, is your own investigation, your own research. And if you don't follow me on the socials and you follow the podcast, but maybe you're not following me on social media, you need to do that too. It's where you can keep up with all the latest goings on with parareality, as well as get a little bit of a glimpse into my personal life. And I'll be giving you the deets on how you can do that later on in this podcast. So once again, thank you to the new followers, Reddy Boops, Luxon Manvindizi, and the Hallowed Widow. Thank you all three for the follow. And hey, everybody, before I forget, I've got some big news for you, all you Parareality fans. The Parareality podcast is making its debut appearance at the Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con this August, and I couldn't be more excited. So mark your calendars. The date is Saturday, August 16th, 2025 at the Milner Recreation Center in McMinnville, Tennessee. This is a full-day convention packed with guest speakers, experiencers, and experts covering everything from Bigfoot to Dogman, UFOs, and more. If it's strange, unexplained, or lurking in the woods, you'll hear about it at this conference. And that's not all. There's a massive vendor hall featuring all the cryptid-themed merch you could ever want, plus local food trucks to keep you fueled while you explore. I'll be there with a Parareality table and all my gear, ready to meet you face to face. If you've ever had an unusual, mysterious, or some kind of downright creepy experience, come find me and share your story, because it just might end up featured on the podcast. So come hang out, talk weird with me, and be part of the parareality community in person. For event details and tickets, please be sure to visit the Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con page on Facebook. That's Tennessee Wildman and Cryptid Con. Just search it up and get your passes now. Until then, stay curious, and of course, I will see you in the shadows. Parareality is a proud member of the Evergreen Podcast Network. For more information or to check out other shows on the network, please visit evergreenpodcast.com.
Broadcast from a secret bunker somewhere outside of Nashville, Tennessee. This is the award-winning podcast, Parareality.
Welcome back, everybody. My special guest this evening is Mr. Mike Familiant of the YouTube television show, whatever you want to call it. I'll let you explain that.
In the Shadow of Big Red Eye.
In the Shadow of Big Red Eye.
Yep.
Yes. So, welcome back to Parareality Podcast, Mike.
Thank you so much for having me back. It's such a pleasure when I'm not only on the first podcast, but when I'm invited back, it makes me feel so glad. Thank you so much for having me back. It's awesome.
Well, thank you for coming back. And I'm just going to explain something real quick here in case you were hearing a little bit of an echo. We're actually sitting, I've got my mobile podcast studio up, and Mike and I are sitting in.
We're doing this live.
Yeah, we're exactly live. We're sitting in the kitchen of his Airbnb right outside of Nashville.
Smirnoff.
Yeah, Smirnoff. Yeah, we're in Smirnoff, Tennessee. Yeah, exactly. It's amazing. I bet you didn't know that's where the vodka was actually. Everybody thinks that it's foreign. But
I have some.
Russian.
Welcome.
No, it's not. Yeah. Well, thanks once again for coming back on the podcast. It is a real pleasure to get a chance to not only interview you again, but meet in person again. This is the third time that we've had a chance to meet, because we actually saw each other last night.
Last night we had the best barbecue ribs that I have ever had before in my entire life.
Shout out to Peg Leg Porker.
Yeah.
Carrie Pringle. Yeah. So that's why I took you there.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
that was
welcome.
incredible.
And last year at the fourth annual Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival, we finally got a chance to
we hung out a little bit. Yeah,
hang out there. And you were on the podcast back in, I think, 2023.
It was a while ago.
It's been
a hot minute. Yeah.
And we have kind of stayed in touch ever since. Kind of become friends. So it's finally, it's nice to not only get a chance to hang out some, but get a chance to actually, instead of talking on the phone or via email or whatever, get a chance to see each other face to face. So
I tell everybody, and this is what a Bigfoot is all about. It's not about looking for Bigfoot. That's not what it's about. The connections that you make. And just like the connections that we've had and we made, that's what it's all about. And now we're just hanging out in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yes, and my mic is going nuts.
Your mic is going off the wall.
Yeah, this
is that yours or mine?
No, it's this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I keep
right
hitting
here.
my thing on this. Is that
okay.
Is that a problem?
We can hear it, but it's cool.
Okay.
No one cares.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So tell me, man. So for someone who may not have heard the first podcast that you were on, or may not be familiar with In Search of
Big Red Eye.
Oh man, speaking of hitting stuff, wow.
There it is.
Tell us a little bit about
the whole problem going live.
Exactly. Tell us what In Search of Big Red Eye is.
Yeah. So I made this show back in 2016, and I was watching all the shows on TV, like Finding Bigfoot, and now there's Expedition Bigfoot on TV and stuff, and I was like, man, these shows aren't really showing the way that Bigfoot research is done.
Yeah.
So I wanted to make my own show, and I wasn't doing it for ratings or for money or anything like that. That wasn't a goal of mine. I just wanted to show show people what Bigfoot research is all about.
Okay.
So I made my show In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, and now we got almost 5,000 subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's cool. It's the show is filmed in like an amateur style, so it's not like the shows you see on TV. My whole point of doing the show is to invite people and friends and families to get off the couch and into nature more. That's the whole reason why I did the show.
So you don't have like a camera crew?
God, no.
It's just,
no.
Is it
it's just me. It's me and Jill for the most part of it. Yeah. Yeah. Jill is my manager, and she helps me out and films a lot of the majority of the stuff that we do. But other than that, it's just myself.
And just out there in the middle of nowhere,
I spent 139 nights last year tent camping.
Wow. Have you contacted Guinness? I mean, there's...
Oh, that's a good idea. No, I have not.
You should contact Guinness and see if there's some sort of record for tent camping. You could get in that.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, it would. Not only do you have your own TV show, but I am a Guinness World Record holder.
Book of World Record holder, yeah. I don't think that would work.
You never know until you look into it. So the TV show is, I know that you talk a lot, and I was telling you this last night. One of the things that I really, really like about it is that you talk to people who've had experiences, and you get them out to the area where they had their experience, and you like sit them down like on a tree stump, or you're talking by a fence or whatever, and you have them tell their story. But do you actually go out and hunt Bigfoot? Do you film your Sasquatch at hunts at night, or is it more just you're interviewing people, or is that how it evolved?
No, I actually the whole point of the show, I made a kind of sub series called Squatchables.
Yes,
and it's a Bigfoot campfire stories, and which is what you're referring to. It's when I actually interview witnesses that I go to the exact location where they actually saw Bigfoot and interview them, and the way that they react is insane.
It is.
It's incredible. It really is. So that makes me believe that, one, no one's lying. Not many people anyway. But the other reason why I made the whole show is we do go out at night and we film our research expeditions looking for Bigfoot. I make it a career of going around the country filming my Bigfoot research expeditions, and it's been so incredible going all over the East Coast,
And you actually have some of your Bigfoot casts in the Bigfoot Museum in West Virginia.
They just got added to their display like a week ago. Yeah,
that's awesome. Congratulations on that. How did
Thank
that
you
come
so
about?
much. It was really cool. I was vending down at the West Virginia Bigfoot Festival, and Laurel and David, we started talking. They're the runners of the festival, and we just started talking, and they saw my original Bigfoot footprints that I found up in Sparta, New Jersey, and they were like, I would love nothing more to add these to our collection in the Bigfoot Museum, and so we have a copy of them in the museum.
You go. That's awesome. And so, where did you found those in Sparta, New Jersey? So tell me about how that came about.
Yeah, so it was actually really cool, and I don't think I've ever told this story before, which was intriguing. I was with my buddy John, who he's a character, but we ended up going up into this area in Sparta Mountain Wildlife Management Area. Mm-hmm. It's near the Edison Mines, which, if anybody's familiar, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Okay, because I can't hear myself anymore.
Okay.
Not a big deal. But
I was playing with the wrong
Can I hear
setting
me?
there.
Oh, yeah.
How's
Now
that?
I can hear me.
Okay.
Okay. But anyways, we were up in Edison, New Jersey, which is not where Thomas Edison invented the light bulb,
Okay.
but where Thomas Edison invented the iron ore, where you can actually you took iron from the ground and you made charcoal. And it's the only way that charcoal could get wet on the trains coming from New Jersey. And that's the only way that it was. It's very cool. Anyways, very squatchy area. There's not much up there.
Yeah.
And I walked in about a mile, maybe a mile and a quarter, I don't know, into this area. And I've always been very intrigued by it because there was like, to both sides, there was ATV trails. So you could like definitely climb up the mountain, but I wasn't going to do that because that was too tall. You know what I mean? So I'm just chilling down here on the the straightaway, and I'm just walking down it, and all of a sudden I come across this Bigfoot footprint. It's a human-like 9-inch. Yeah, it's probably 9.5. Nobody is going to be barefoot out there. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. All right. And if you think it may be, that could be a possibility, but it was walking into the woods. It wasn't walking down the trail.
Yeah.
Are your business expenses playing hide and seek? With Uber for Business, the small spends that slip through the cracks, like rides and meals, go right where you need them. Because it integrates with leading expense platforms, you can say goodbye to surprise costs, missing dollars, or chasing receipts. Everything's track downable. Uber for Business. Make small steps that make a big impact. Learn more at uber.com/small steps.
So I don't know. We casted that, and that is now the cast that's in the West Virginia Bigfoot Museum.
That's awesome. And it's the original cast?
Yes, sir.
So you donated the original cast. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have any copies of it in
Yeah.
here? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Good.
Of course.
Good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Do you have any other casts of anything?
Yeah, I've got some second generation copies of the cool things, like the Patterson Gimlin film, the footage. I like to display them when I go to my library presentations. What I do.
Yeah.
But I also do have some more original casts that have come from the Pine Barrens in southern New Jersey, which is a very, very cool place. I have actually a cast of a mountain lion that came from Maryland. They say that mountain lions don't exist there.
They're not supposed to be there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, it is very interesting, and the fact that you were in the New Jersey Pine Barrens is, I'm gonna tip my proverbial hat to you for that. That's did you have any Jersey Devil stuff going on in there? I know
yes.
that's not your thing. But
no, it's not my thing. I actually took. I don't know if you or your fans are familiar with Andrew Callahan of Channel 5 News.
That name sounds so familiar.
He's a very popular YouTuber.
Okay.
And he actually contacted me, and he's like, "Hey, can you take me out looking for the Jersey Devil?" And I said, "No, that's not what I do." And then I looked at how many subscribers he had, and I said, "Oh, absolutely, that's exactly what we're going to do."
Yeah.
No, but we actually went down there, and we actually we took somehow. I'm not going to say exactly how because we can't admit that. Mm-hmm. We got goat's blood, and we put goat's blood on a tree. We smeared it all over a tree. And we tried to get the Jersey Devil. We put trail cameras on it. We tried to get the Jersey Devil to come in. And
any success?
No.
Okay.
No.
Did you hear anything?
No.
Okay. Well, you tried.
Hey, the point about it is, if it's not looking for Bigfoot, it's about the journey of trying to find Bigfoot. It's not, with the Jersey Devil, Bigfoot doesn't matter. It's about the journey to get there. It's not about the actual finding of it. That means absolutely nothing to me. It's about the journey getting there.
You keep saying that over and over again.
And it means so much to me.
Obviously, I can looking at your face, I can the expression on your face, I can tell that that's where your main passion is.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, it's about getting kids and families and friends just off the couch and seeing something that they wouldn't see in nature every day. Just like we did the other night. We went to Piggly Wiggly's. Where'd we go?
Peg leg porker.
Yeah, whatever. Seeing something that you wouldn't see.
Yeah.
And it's because of our friendship.
Right.
That we had. And that means so much to me. You have no idea. That really it connects with me a lot.
Well, I'm
and
glad.
I appreciate
That's
that.
cool. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's my pleasure to do
Yeah.
that for you. I've been looking forward to you coming down here for a while because I want to go to you're speaking at the Laverne Library.
Yes, sir.
And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to go so I can hear your
I'd love that.
presentation. Yeah,
I'd love that. That'd be so cool.
Do you film it at all?
No, I don't. I tried to film it, and fun fact for you, I actually get a little camera shy. As you look back at the camera that's filming us right now.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not touching it.
Fair enough. Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. No, I don't film my library presentations because I want people to be able to share their experiences. And when the camera's
when you
on,
have cameras there, they
don't share their
really.
experiences. Yeah.
Really? I would have thought it would have been the opposite.
Absolutely
almost,
not.
because
No.
there are so many. Like everybody's looking for their 15 minutes, and
People are so scared and almost like half ashamed of seeing a Bigfoot that they don't want to share their experiences.
really,
And it's crazy to me because I've talked to people that have changed their lifestyle, their lives, because of seeing a Bigfoot.
you would be one of them because of your encounter.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
I would think that because of shows like Finding Bigfoot and what's the
Expedition
big one?
Bigfoot.
Expedition
that new-
Bigfoot, yeah, and those type of shows, I would have thought that stuff like that would have been more mainstream. Like sharing your Bigfoot encounter would have been more mainstream because those shows, especially Finding Bigfoot, I mean they had town hall meetings, and camera crew and everybody's there and they're saying, yeah, I saw a Bigfoot, and
Well, I'll tell you, I can't knock any of the shows because Finding Bigfoot with the BFRO was the reason why I got into Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. I was watching on TV one night, and I was like, oh, that would be cool to go on a Bigfoot expedition and see all these absolutely batshit crazy people.
Right.
And it was a weekend full of batshit crazy people in the woods. It was cool. It was awesome. But it also was a weekend that was like, oh, there's other people besides these batshit crazy people here.
Yeah.
There's like police officers and firefighters and doctors that all believe in this concept of Bigfoot. That's shocking. And then, for those of you that don't know, I had when I was up in this Bigfoot expedition, I had me and my buddy Jimmy. We had 4 fist-sized rocks thrown at us, and Jimmy was like, "I don't think this is cool," and I'm gonna throw a rock back at it. And he took a rock, and I swear to God, it was a laptop-sized boulder that came out of the woods and landed 5 feet from us.
After he threw the rock back at whatever it was.
Yeah.
I bet he kind of...
That was it. Yeah, no, that was it. Yeah. Sleepless night. We did not sleep at all that night, let me tell you. But the coolest thing about the whole thing is we asked our camp neighbors the next day, hey, did anybody experience anything last night? Because we had some activity, and nobody did. So then we went and we did because we were like, okay, this is like a research expedition.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be all scientific about it, right? So we did like, how close is this thing to us that could have been throwing the rocks? 75 yards.
75 yards? That's a long way to toss a rock, especially one that's the size of a laptop.
It's one thing to throw a softball that far.
Yeah.
It's another thing to throw a laptop-sized boulder that far. It's outside of human range.
Wow. And this was on your very first.
And that's what got me into it. That's the whole reason why I got into it.
And then after that, you're like,
Hooked.
I'm doing it. I'm quitting my job, changing my whole life.
No.
Starting a TV show.
No, absolutely not. After that incident, me and Jimmy we decided to make it our personal goal to figure out what could have threw those rocks.
Yeah.
Because there's got to be
Obviously,
an explanation for it, right? So we got into Bigfoot. So we started researching, talking to witnesses, researchers, investigating hot spots, everything that you could imagine, watching all the TV shows that were on TV.
Yeah.
And in a matter of about a 3-week time frame, we decided we're now professionals.
Wow.
So we decided to go out solo. And we did a solo trip to Colt Creek State Park, which my good friend Barry just did a super special camp out down there. It's a really cool spot for Bigfoot. Okay. It's in the green swamp of Central Florida. And we went down there, and so it was like I was just watching all the shows on TV, and all the shows on TV were just like, I'm going to do a Bigfoot call every 2 seconds, because that's what Bigfooting is all about. Just making Bigfoot calls.
Yeah.
And
banging
why
on
not?
trees. Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Just making the biggest ruckus that you can.
Exactly.
So I'm going to do that. So I'm doing Bigfoot calls every 2 seconds. Anything with any sort of brain would know that there's 2 idiots running through the woods.
Yeah.
Right? Am I not?
Yeah. I'm picking that up. Yeah.
So we're banging on trees, and I'm doing this thing, and all of a sudden, we see 2 sets of reflecting eyes. One is a red set. One is a blue set. Yeah, that was a weird kind of sound.
I know. Keep going.
That was actually interesting that it happened right then.
I know.
But anyways,
weird stuff happen like that all the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Stop. You have these expensive microphones, and all of a sudden.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Are we good?
Okay, I'm going to leave it right there.
Yeah, don't touch it. Don't touch.
No touching the cord. Okay.
Yes, nothing. So we saw those eyes, right? And it, we called out to them, and we said, "Hey." We thought they were people. We didn't realize people don't have eye shine, because we were so new at this whole Bigfooting thing. So we were like, "Hey, we're just looking for Bigfoot." Sorry.
That's awesome.
And then we, no response back from them. Mm-hmm. And we thought, the next thought was that they were poachers illegally, hunting animals in the woods. And I'm like, oh, this is not a good scenario.
We need to get out of here.
We gotta. So I said, we just yelled back, "Hey, we're just looking for Bigfoot. Sorry to bother you guys." And then the red set of eyes turned and looked at the blue set, and then turned and looked back at us and then blinked. Fuck no.
Wow.
Out of there. Jimmy put a notch on the tree with his machete. So we went back the next day, the next morning to see, what that could have been. Mm-hmm. And we found the notch on the tree. So we knew exactly where we were.
Where you were.
And
that was a smart idea.
The eyes were 7.5 feet tall.
Wow.
And
both sets?
2 feet apart from each other.
Ooh.
So I don't know. I'm not saying that's a Bigfoot, but I'm not saying it's not.
But you're also don't know what it was. So,
exactly.
It could have been.
The best thing that I could figure that being is 2 pairs of unrelated species of owls sitting on a branch that didn't exist next to each other.
Just chilling.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
No, that doesn't. That doesn't make sense. That is cool. That's kind of scary as well. I mean, have you ever, besides that, have you ever had like an incident where you were out and, because I know it's just, a lot of times it's just you or maybe one other person. Have you ever had an incident where you're out and you're like, I'm really scared of what's happening right now. I feel like I'm in danger.
I'll tell you something, and I don't tell many people this at all. One time I did. This is on a trail in Jefferson, New Jersey, Morris County, a trail that I've been on 8 million times. Mm-hmm. Okay. Like I could do this trail upside down, blindfolded at night. No question about it.
Yeah.
So I got dropped off at this trailhead one night and I made it a quarter of a mile into the woods. It's a 3 mile long trailhead, and made it a quarter mile into the woods, and all of a sudden, something stopped me, and I to this day I can't tell you what it was. All the hair stood up on the back of my neck, and I was like, "Oh shit, something does not want me to be here right now," and like I said, I did this. I walk this trail every week. I noticed a tree break that was not there the week prior.
Okay.
And I was like, "Oh, okay. This is exactly where this incident happened." And I'm not trying to be all like phooey or anything like that, but man, something told me I need to get out of the woods. And it was the only hike in my entire life that I've not completed.
Wow.
Yeah. And a quarter mile. I turned away from the trailer. I called my buddy up. I said, "Hey, you got to come pick me up." He's like, "You're kidding me, right?" I'm like, "No, something is not okay here."
Wow. A way to listen to your instincts, though, Well, at least you weren't like deep in the woods by yourself, or it taking.
Yeah, but imagine if I was though.
Out. Yeah, I know.
That's people hear about this missing 411 thing all the time, and listen, I'm not necessarily saying Bigfoot's accountable for a lot of these missing peoples, but there's not saying that it's not.
Well, I mean, there's no proof that he is, but there's also no proof that he isn't. So,
100%.
It's funny that you should mention that. I was kind of had that in the back of my head. I was wondering if I should talk to him about any of this David Paulides stuff, because his is in national parks, and I know you do a lot of national park stuff. So do you ever is that ever in the back of your head?
Oh my God!
What's your plan? If you don't hear from me by Tuesday, send the search party out.
I call Jill and I say, hey, yeah, exactly the case. If I say I'm going on a hike, and if I'm not back in 2 hours, then
I'm dead or I'm kidnapped.
You should probably call somebody.
What's the the longest and the furthest you've ever been out on an expedition?
I've done 14 miles in the Smoky Mountains.
Really?
Yeah, I did a backpacking trip up there, and that was probably not only the coolest experience, but one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever
Smoky
gone
Mountains,
to.
man, it's hard to beat.
It really is.
The most visited park in the United States.
Yeah, but it is because of a reason. It's freaking beautiful.
It is. I love going there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my dreams when I retire. I want to get a cabin in the mountains up there. Yeah.
Take me.
We'll go in halvesies. So, getting out and getting into nature and talking to all these people, I know that's the main thing that you want to do. But isn't it just a little bit, isn't part of it just like I want to, see this, whatever Sasquatch is, I want to see this, I want to experience it, I want to help be someone who has proven that this thing really does exist? That's not it at all?
No.
Not even just a tiny bit?
Nope, not at all. I'm petrified if I ever do come across a Sasquatch, what would happen to me, like we talked about. Mm-hmm. Two, you have to look at my profession as I'm going to be the one that has the best viability of coming across a Sasquatch in the woods and getting the best evidence, because I'm out in the woods so much, right? Mm-hmm. Correct?
Yeah.
Now the question is, what would I do with that footage?
Yeah.
I want to preserve and not destroy the species of Bigfoot, if they do exist. And would that mean that I'm going to give this DNA evidence that I have to the best biologist out in the world, or is that going to mean that I'm not going to say anything and let the species live by itself and do what it's done for so long?
But just giving a DNA sample to someone's not necessarily going to destroy the species.
Of course it will.
How do you figure that? Because I'm going to push back on that a little bit.
Yeah,
So I want to hear your side of that. How's it going to destroy the species?
So you have DNA evidence of Bigfoot, right? That lives in, say, the Pacific Northwest, which we can probably agree on, right?
Absolutely.
Because it's an endangered species, they're going to need to preserve the property that it survives on, right? Mm-hmm. So there's going to be no hunting zones. There's going to be all sort of Bigfoot habitat area, right? And that's going to shut down logging. That's North America. That's America's most beneficial process is logging.
Okay, but that's not destroying. When you say destroying the species, are you
They're
talking
going
about
to shut it down. You won't be able to log anymore.
How's that destroying the species?
No, it's not destroying the species. They're going to protect the species by causing America not to log anymore. So you're going to shut down the economy if Bigfoot ever was to prove to be existed.
But they're not going to shut down logging for the whole United States.
Absolutely.
You really think that?
Not the whole United States. I think in Bigfoot, quote unquote, habitats.
Bigfoot conservation areas.
Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from, and I appreciate that, but I don't know. I mean, that process is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be, okay, Mike has a hair and he gives it to the scientist, and the scientist comes back and says, holy shit, it's Bigfoot. We've never seen anything like this before. It's a brand new species.
Right.
And okay, so now what? Now they're just going to go to that area and say, okay, 100 miles of this area is now Sasquatch territory and it's protected. Are they, it's going to be a process. It's going to take a lot longer than.
Do you think Bigfoot's biological?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So with that being said, there's got to be baby Bigfoots somewhere, right?
Yeah.
There's got to be there has to be a land that they have Bigfoot in, right?
Right now, it's everywhere. I mean, there's
Where's
no
everywhere?
restrictions. Well, Bigfoot, I believe Bigfoot is like nomadic. They roam,
100%.
right?
Yes.
So they got the whole entirety of North America, as far as I'm concerned, to roam around in.
Fun fact for you: nomadic migrations, nomadic movements are actually only there's only 2 mammals in North America that do nomadic migrations. It's the pronghorn deer and the elk, and they only do that over a very short mountain span over Colorado. So there's no migratory land mammals in North America.
Well, I'm not necessarily referring to migration for seasons and stuff. I'm just saying they're nomadic in the fact that they just go wherever they want to go whenever they want to go. Now I'm not saying that Sasquatch A goes from the East Coast to the West Coast and just walks back and forth aimlessly and I'm sure that they have some sort of territory or whatever, and they have an area that they prefer to stay in. But my point is, they don't have to. If they want to get up and say, I'm tired of this area and I want to go east, they can go east as far as they want to go.
It's interesting.
It's just like if I get tired of living in Nashville and I want to move to Texas, I pack up my shit and I move to Texas. So what's different about a Sasquatch if there are a bipedal, nomadic type biologic specimen, entity, creature, whatever you want to call it? They have to have some form of intelligence. They have to. It's just not some, Cro-Magnon. Even the cavemen had some form of intelligence.
Absolutely.
But so my point is, well, if they're an intelligent creature and they're bipedal and they're nomadic and free to roam wherever they want to, I'm sure they do have their own home territory. But what's to keep them from going on vacation? Or the Sasquatch baby is now kicked out of the nest and he has to go find his own territory. Maybe they work like that.
That is the Jacobs photo with the trail camera of the baby Bigfoot eating apples in Allegheny National Forest. It's Bigfoot is such a wonderful creature to study. Do we go into the biological aspect of it? And do we dive down into where Bigfoot can possibly be and their movements and their where they possibly could live and where they couldn't live, in North America? That's very apt. But we could be more broad about it and just say, let's look for Bigfoot.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
And
I think that's what it's. I can if you want me to, I could really dive down into the deep aspects of Bigfoot research, but I don't want to. That's not the point of this podcast.
No, I'm not going to make you do that.
Yeah.
Getting back to the thing about shutting down logging and all that sorts of stuff. My opinion on that is, I think that if you produced the evidence and science backed it up and we said, okay, this is an unknown creature, and you are one of your fellow researchers or whoever. I'm
the guy.
I'm pointing at you because we're talking about you, right?
I'll take it.
You found the hair. You saw Sasquatch, and you have the video proof. You have photographic evidence. You got a hair sample, and we know it. This is real. We prove it.
That's it. Got it.
So you decide, okay, I'm going to tell the world I found it in X marks the spot right here. Okay, so we can go prove that this creature is alive. I think that what's going to happen is you're going to get a shit ton of squatchers, Bigfoot researchers, paranormal investigators, Tom, Dick, and Harry's, everybody and their brothers, cousins, sisters, uncles. They're all going to move into that area.
And they're going to start wearing ghillie suits and start going into the woods trying to hunt these things.
Yeah, and they're going to drive them off, and people are going to get hurt.
People are going to get hurt is a big point. Yes.
But I think if we ever do catch one, that's how it's like, if we ever get one to study, research, whatever, as I use my air quotes.
People can't see that.
Yeah. Well, you got a camera.
Oh, I got a camera. Yeah.
So I think if we ever like do something like that's how it's going to happen is that somebody is going to have irrefutable proof, and to get their 15 minutes of fame and to try to make as much money as they can, they're going to say, I have all this stuff. I'm going to sell it. I'm going on the podcast. I'm going on the talk show circuit. Here it is. This is where I got it at. Let's go find it. Mm-hmm. And if we do find it, it's going to be a flood of people that's going to come in, and one of two things is going to happen. Innocent people are going to get hurt, number one. The Bigfoot itself is going to get hurt or killed, number two. But I think the real way that it's going to happen where we can research these things is not to shoot it, kill it, get a body, bring it back, dissect it, and go, oh, wow, look, it's real, and it's got, intestines and a stomach and a heart and lungs. Woo-hoo. I think that we're going to figure out a way to incapacitate it, put some sort of tracker in it, mm-hmm. just like we do all the other mammals and
now,
shit
Sean,
that we research, and just let it go.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Though. Do you want Bigfoot to ever be found?
See, that is, for me, a catch-22.
It's a good question, isn't it?
It's a great question, because if Bigfoot is found, I think what's going to happen is exactly what I just talked about.
Exactly.
But if we never find it, then we'll never have definitive proof that it is real, and it'll always just be a big question mark.
Hey, but then I have a job forever.
Yeah, and you do. You have a job forever, and
no, and I don't mean that in the way it sounds. My job is to entice people to get out inside into nature, and I take so much pride and passion in that. Bigfoot, that's cool. Mothman, awesome concept.
Yeah.
Your viewers can't see my hand signals right now, but I'm doing hand signals. That's kind of like as much as I want to find them, it's not about the finding. It's about the journey getting there.
It's about the journey. Yeah.
It really is. It really, really 100%
But I think that's kind of what is setting you apart from other researchers, is their goal is definitive proof or not. It's there's no gray area. It's a black and white world in the world of Squatching. It's either, Bigfoot exists or it doesn't. And I'm out here as a researcher, and I have my podcast or my television show, or I just want to make a name for myself in the Bigfoot community, or whatever your reasons are, is I think people go out with one of two intents: to prove it's real or to prove that it's not. And whatever side they're on, the ultimate goal is Bigfoot, right?
Yeah.
Where you are not, that's not your goal. The ultimate goal for you is not, hey, it's Bigfoot. Yay, look.
I think that'd be cool.
Exactly. But your goal is your goal is motivation, to get people to get out and to experience nature, get off their couch, and because you were self-admitted a couch potato before all this
Definitely.
started.
Big time.
Yeah. And see, I am going to put myself in that category and say that I am a couch potato. And you would not know it by what you know of me now, but I grew up in Southeast Alabama. My dad was a country boy, grew up on a farm. He did a lot of hunting, fishing, camping.
That's cool.
That's how I was raised. I was raised with a shotgun in one hand, a rod and reel in the other, and we went hunting, fishing, and camping all the time. All the time. And that's how I grew up. And then, not to put a dampen on the mood or to anything like that, but my dad died.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. He died very young, and I was, of course, young as well. And the hunting, fishing, and camping and all that sorts of stuff, it lost every bit of meaning to me because that was what we did together,
Yeah.
And so, and it's not that and it didn't happen just like that. It's like, well, my dad's dead, so I'm never going to do this again. I did. I went hunting and I went fishing and I went camping and I still did all those things, and it sucked. I just didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
And because I always had the old man hanging over my shoulder, the ghost of my dad, and it just lost its meaning. So I developed into a couch potato, and I want to get back out and I want to do things, and now I've had this freaking injury, and so I have to say I have a handicap now.
Yeah.
And so, like, can I go hunting, camping, and fishing? Absolutely. Is it gonna be a little bit more difficult? Put a percentage on it from 0 difficulty to 100% difficulty. It'd probably be like a 10%.
That's
so
not
it's
terrible.
like oh poor me. And that's not what I'm trying to say.
No.
But is I want to get back out and I want to start doing these things, but because I was laid up for 6 months, I packed some weight on. My stamina's gone away.
Yeah.
I gotta get back into the gym and I gotta really start doing some stuff so I can get back in the shape to go, start doing these things that I want to do. And my wife, God love her, I love my wife. She supports me 100%, and she would love nothing more than for me to, because we used to go hiking and stuff like that all the time, and
Yeah, you gotta get back into it, man.
and she'd love nothing more than that. So the fact that there's people like you who are saying, hey, this Bigfoot stuff is fun, and I have some evidence, and I've seen and experienced some stuff, and I think it's real, but get out there and go experience this yourself.
See something that you wouldn't see sitting on the couch.
Do something
every
that
day.
you wouldn't do.
That's
right?
what it's all about,
Which is
man.
part of what I like about doing this was because I do this podcast, I've met so many people like you, and I've gone and I've done and experienced things that, I wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah.
You were talking about how you were on that, you got a quarter mile in on this trail and you had the hair stand up the back of your head, and it was like, I can't go and do this. I had something very similar happen to me when I was doing an paranormal investigation, and I went in this area, and it was a cool area, and I was like, holy crap, I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna be taking pictures and I'm gonna do all this stuff and blah blah blah. And I got 10 feet into this room, and I couldn't go any further. Something was telling me to get the hell out.
Yes, sir.
And
that's exactly what happened to me.
My heart started racing. I started sweating, started breathing heavy, and I'm like, "This is stupid." What is going on?
It's not good to be here.
So you take another couple of steps, and you're like, "No, I can't do it." And I turned around and left, and there was a psychic that was with our group.
Oh, okay.
And she was kind of semi-psychic, not a and I was telling her about this area that I went in, and she was like, "Oh, you did?" And I was like, "Yeah." She said, "Well, I can tell you right now, they didn't want you in there." And she didn't even know what I had felt or anything. She just was like, "Yeah, they're telling me they didn't want you in there at that point in time." And I was like, "Yeah, I know."
That's
and then I
cool.
started telling her what was going on. She's like, "Yeah, that was them telling you to get out." And well, I did.
Yeah.
And I said, "Why don't they want me in there?" She's like, "I don't know. They just didn't want you in there." So okay. So I left. I don't think anything bad would have happened to me, but
and I don't even like to think about that.
Yeah.
But the fact that it did happen to you,
Yeah.
and it happened to me too, that's cool. I mean, that's that. I don't talk about that publicly because it's not verifiable.
Yeah, and it kind of goes against what you were wanting people to do, which is get out and experience
Exactly.
things too. So I understand that. Yeah,
And it
but it was just the one time out of the thousands of times you've been out. So
yeah, but that there's something about that time. You know what I mean? I think that was the closest that I've ever been to Bigfoot. Ever.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, by far, yeah. I was, I think, maybe 20 yards outside of a Bigfoot in Whitehall, New York.
Wow.
We walked probably, I don't know, maybe 2 miles, mile and a half down into this unused hunting trail that nobody ever goes down, and we literally were getting rocks thrown at us, and we heard footfalls and trees getting smacked.
Yeah.
And we have it all recorded, which is the coolest thing.
That is cool. What that reminds me is a question I wanted to ask you is, what's your evidence besides you have cast us some tracks and you've seen some eye shine? What's your evidence that you've got?
It's cool that you get the eye shine and you get the footprint evidence and stuff and whatever, but I think it's more that it comes back to the non-specific evidence that you get, the tree knocks and the whoops that you hear, that's something that you can't classify. That's the stuff that gets me going.
Yeah.
I'd love to be able to say that that's a legitimate Bigfoot footprint that I just got on photograph. You know what I mean? But it's another thing to be out there at night and get a tree knock back.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Have you ever gotten the sense that there was, wherever you were at, there was someone else like down the road just...
Oh, good God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up in, I think the best point that I could say about that was up in outside of Milford, Pennsylvania. And we got I went up to a fire tower. And nice. I'm a big fire tower junkie. I love the views from fire towers. Yeah. This is my thing. And I got up there, and we actually couldn't get up to the top of the fire tower because there was an eagle's nest, which is really cool. But I got up to as far as I could go, and generally speaking, they're the greatest areas to do a Bigfoot call because you're going to get the most projection that you can.
Yeah, it goes out far. Yeah.
So I did a Bigfoot call from the top of the fire tower, and I got back. It was, and it's all recorded. It's on my YouTube. It's a half pitch lower of what I was doing. I was doing woo, and it was coming woo, and it was the same exact duration of what I. It wasn't an echo. It's cool.
Yeah.
There's got to be something out there. There can't be.
I think there's something to it. I've never had an encounter. I've never seen Bigfoot, but I've had so much because of doing what I do. I've had so much experience, so much stuff, and had so many weird things happen to me that I can't not believe that there's something out there.
When are we going to go out for a search?
We'll have to talk about that. Because I would really love to experience a expedition, whatever you want to call whatever it is that you do. I would love to experience something just once before they close the lid on me.
Before it's figured out.
Yeah, and I was telling you last night over dinner that I had an opportunity several years ago, and it just didn't. It was one of those things where this is kinda a little creepy. Shady, and I don't think, and I know that there are tons of people out there who like, hey, I'm a professional Bigfoot hunter or whatever. Come give me $100 and we'll go out for the weekend.
Yeah, right.
And I don't. I mean, could I do it? Yeah, I've thought about it, but I don't really want to like have that be my Bigfoot hunting experience, whatever you want to call it. My I don't,
I understand.
I want to go out and with someone like you
or
Right. I'm only going to charge you $250
that's
a night.
That's perfect. That's exactly what I would think that
Just
going
kidding. I'm
out
not
with
gonna
you
charge you
would
anything.
cost. I would rather go out with someone like you or somebody else, that has an interest in it, but is not,
And I kind of explained it to you last night. I think we talked about it over dinner. Is Bigfooting for me is camping on steroids.
Yeah.
It's let's have a weekend with the most amazing people that we could possibly hang out with, and let's go look for Bigfoot at the same time.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me,
Yeah.
And I do a lot of this solo, and I travel solo and whatever. But when I do meet up with people, it's some of the most solid connections that I've ever had before.
Yeah.
Because it's all about it's all about Bigfoot, but it's not about Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I know what you're saying. Yeah, it makes sense to me. And you're talking about traveling and meeting people. How do you determine where you're gonna go for your expeditions?
I don't.
Okay.
I actually called. I was on my way from Mammoth Cave to Nashville, and I had an hour to kill. So I actually one of the library people that I knew. He was the theater runner for this theater that I presented at one time, and I said, "Hey, Colton, do you want to come just meet up for lunch?" And that's what we did, and it was amazing because you can't get. I mean, that's so cool.
Yeah, and so like your expeditions, you don't necessarily pre-plan where you're gonna go.
I do. I mean, I definitely do. However, there's no real. The thing with me is, so my livelihood is doing library presentations. That's how I make money. That's what I do. So, for example, we'll take a state that I love, Indiana. Okay, I'm going to be going to Indiana this year, and I'm going to be staying in areas that are not necessarily the most squatchiest,
Yeah.
but that are central areas to me in my library presentations because I can't drive all over the state. That just makes sense, right?
Right.
So, people ask me all the time, do you just go to the squatchiest areas ever? And no, I don't. But it's cool because it doesn't matter about if it's squatchy or not. It's cool because the areas that I go to. You know what I mean? Like, and see the things like there's a go figure. There's a waterfall in Indiana.
Okay.
Nobody would have thought of that. Where was that? Oh.
But you've been there.
I've been there, and I saw it. It was like 3 feet.
Hey.
It was awesome. Yeah.
The one where you're like, I don't think I can cross here.
Yeah, the one I couldn't cross. Yeah.
So speaking of library presentations, tell me about how did that come about? What's up with that? How does that
What do you
that
mean?
work? Like you said your bread and butter is there are library presentations.
Yes, sir.
So how did you come up with that idea, and how do you book these things? Because
I was bored.
okay,
That's about it.
and how do you? So how do you like? Do they like call you up and say, "Hey, Mike,
Nah, well,
will you come do a presentation?" Or
Yeah,
do
they
you
do.
contact them and say, "Hey, I'm Mike. I want to do a presentation"? Or-
Both,
Okay.
which is the coolest thing. So what I do is and this may sound a little, how may I say, superficial, because I'm just in it for myself, and I'm okay with that, right? I think everybody should be in it for themselves. I pick an area where I want to go to, And 8 months before that, I say, hey, libraries, I'm going to be in your area, and I want to do a presentation here. And they say yes or no, and hopefully a couple of them say yes, and then that funds my way to travel to not only the library, but to camp and research Bigfoot every night.
So you charge money for people to come in for your presentation?
Absolutely not. No, my
Okay.
presentation's all free.
So the library pays you?
Correct.
Okay. Very interesting.
It's a pretty cool concept.
It is a
isn't
pretty cool. Yeah. And what's your what's your
You're
success
thinking
rate?
now. You're thinking.
Well, like when you call them up and you say, "Hey, library, this is Mike, and I have this show called
10%.
And
10%.
well, no, that's not what I was going to ask. So what's like are most of them like, oh, that sounds like a really cool idea, or most of them like, no, man, this is nuts. I don't want to, and hang up the phone.
I get 10% that actually respond back to me.
Okay.
And of those 10%, 1% of them are like, oh, that's really cool.
Okay. So I see what you're saying, 10%. I was thinking, when you said 10%, I was thinking something else.
It's
okay.
It's very low. It's not a good, not a good thing. But what you got to do, it comes in quantity over quality. And I hate to say that, but I emailed just the other day. I emailed 636 libraries.
Jesus.
In just the state of New Jersey, because that's what I do. That's my whole job. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is.
Have you had any response from any of them yet?
Not yet.
Oh
No.
God. Good luck.
No, I got a couple of responses, but I'm expected to get probably 60 libraries booked over 2 months.
Okay, that's good.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to be straight up honest with you right now. This is March 25th? Mm-hmm. I have no idea when this episode is going to air.
Wonderful.
0.
Good.
But you're going to be doing a couple of presentations here in this local area. The Smirnoff.
Smirnoff?
Yeah.
No, Laverne. Laverne, is that what you say?
Laverne, that's how it's pronounced.
Laverne.
Yes.
And Cookville.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So when are you going to be at those?
I think tomorrow is going to be
Putnam County.
Putnam. So Cookville is tomorrow.
Cookville's tomorrow.
And then Laverne is, how do you say it?
Laverne. Yeah.
I'm not going to remember that.
You were so close.
Take out the G.
Yeah.
Take out the G.
Take out the G. And you
Laverne.
There you go, Laverne.
So that's on Thursday.
What time?
1700.
1700. That's 5 o'clock for you non-military people out there.
And you'll be there?
I will be there.
Cool.
I may be a little bit late, but I will.
That is totally unacceptable.
Because I have to come from downtown Nashville, so I will try to be get off a little early.
So that'd be cool.
So I can come. So one thing that I'm dying to ask you, we're over time, but that's okay. It's my podcast. I can do what I want.
Hey.
One thing I want to ask you is, what kind of equipment do you take with you when you go out to film your stuff? Because I see this kick-ass Canon camera here behind me.
That was very expensive.
No
Fun
shit.
fact for you.
Yeah. Probably about $5,000 is if I had to take a guess.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
But I mean, do you have trail cams? Do you have infrared? You have night vision. What do you got, man?
So I have a thermal imaging camera that does not work.
That is so cool.
It can see everything. Mm-hmm. However, I cannot upload it to my computer. So, if you see a Bigfoot on my thermal imaging camera, you are not going to get evidence of it.
Well, you could film it with your expensive camera.
My very expensive HD camera. Yeah, I suppose so.
Does it have night vision on it or anything?
Of course.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I figured it would.
Yeah. No, it's I bring out a digital voice recorder all the time. That's the best way to get evidence of Bigfoot, is just to listen. Just to listen to things that don't make sense in the woods.
Gotcha. What about trail cams? You got trail cams?
Yeah, I do have trail cameras. People and I kind of tend to believe that Bigfoot can see the light or energy that trail cameras can emit. That's why there's no real good evidence of Bigfoot on trail camera. Would make sense. There's pictures of every other animal on trail camera, except Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So why? So that would lead me to believe that Bigfoot could probably see what this trail camera emits and just avoids it.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
Do you believe in the whole psychic Sasquatch, or that it's he's like UFO pet, or alien?
Listen,
whatever?
I think that it no matter what your philosophies of Bigfoot are, I think it's amazing that you have a philosophy and you think about it, right? Because there's a lot of people that don't. Do I believe in anything more than the biological Bigfoot? No, I don't. But am I open to that possibility? Hell yeah. Let me see something.
You wouldn't be surprised if Sasquatch turned out to be some sort of paranormal entity or whatever.
Yes, I would be.
I'd
be shocked. However, if I could see it,
you could. Okay.
That'd be cool.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, so I have two final questions for you.
Sure.
Do you right now have? Actually, probably just going to turn into three, but whatever. Do you right now have any plans to do a like a book or make a documentary,
the B word,
or anything like that? Because that's a lot of what people want. They want to do a documentary, or they want to do a book, or both, or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have anything like that in the works?
Well, I have my YouTube show, my weekly YouTube show, and I think that's for me personally, that's enough.
Yeah.
I don't have time to write a book. I would love to.
What do you mean you're just out in the woods doing nothing all day? What do you mean you don't have time to write a book?
Yeah. There's a lot more that goes on. No, I you're not the first person that said that I should write a book, and you're not going to be the last.
Yeah.
The fact is, I would love to. I don't have the time right now. What was your other question?
Documentary.
Oh, the documentary, the YouTube show.
That's enough.
That's it. It's the legit the only weekly YouTube show that's on TV right now on YouTube.
Yeah. Wow.
It's the only Bigfoot research show that's a weekly show on YouTube, and like I said, I'm not in it for the subscribers or to get the likes and the views, and that doesn't mean too much to me. It's more so about just trying to get people out into nature.
If you're out in the woods doing your show, your research, your expeditions, how do you put the show together?
Jill.
So you send her the footage?
No. Actually, I edit everything myself.
So you got like the laptop going on, and
I got it in the bedroom right now, running. It's rendering right now.
You have like a Jenny or something like that?
Nope.
No?
Nope. Just a regular laptop.
I mean, like a generator. Do you have a generator with you, or you don't have a big power bank, or?
Your jack. He's asking if your laptop is dying, how do you?
Oh, if my laptop is
I mean, you got a bunch of
dying.
equipment that has to be charged. So how do you?
Yeah, I have it's called a Jackery.
Jackery. Okay, yeah.
Have you heard of them?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I have one of them. Other than that, though, I generally, because of what I do in my show, I generally have to stay at campgrounds that have electricity and kind of amenities, which sucks because I don't want to be in them.
Yeah.
But I have to. You know what I mean?
I got it.
So that's
So you just
unfortunate.
you do everything by yourself. When you say it's a one man show, it's pretty much literally
Yes, sir.
one man show.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, I don't do anything. Yeah.
I understand. It's a lot of work.
It's fun.
And
Though.
I don't do. Maybe I'm going to get into a little bit of video stuff. But
I'll send you the.
Sure. Go ahead. I'll take it. I don't know what I'll do with it, but I'll take it. But the last question I have for you before we go is, actually, I have 2 more questions. So I told you it was going to turn into 3. So if there's somebody out there that's listening to this podcast and they're like, I appreciate him and what he's doing, and I want to do something like that. What's your advice on someone who wants to get into researching Bigfoot or doing these expeditions?
It's very simple. Watch my docuseries called Squatchables. It's a 101 how to get into Bigfoot field research. You don't have to pay a ton of money like I did. I paid a lot of money to go on this Bigfoot research expedition, and you don't have to. All that you need to go and have a successful Bigfoot research expedition is have some knowledge, have some time, and have some patience. That's all that matters.
Good advice. I like that.
Yeah.
So last question is, where can people find you? If some of these people, even they have a question, they're like, hey, I think I saw Bigfoot. I want to ask Mike, or I want to send my evidence to Mike, or I have a question, or, how can they find you on the World Wide Web?
Well, I have a rockin', thanks to Jill over there, who's my manager,
Jill.
I have a rocking social media presence. So you can find me pretty much anywhere. We have a awesome website called shadowofredeye.com. And you can find us anywhere. You can find all my upcoming appearances, where I'm going to be, where we're looking for evidence from, if we're looking for witnesses, and even if I'm hiring somebody, because I am in the business for hiring somebody right now.
Oh, what are you hiring for?
Social media manager.
Okay. And you do have a rocking social media presence. I will have to say that.
I appreciate that, my
He is
friend.
all over the socials.
We're trying to get it even more.
You need a manager for that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Do not look at me, sir.
I'm looking at you.
I need someone to do that for me. I'm horrible at posting on social media. I'll go for like a whole week. It was like, shit,
Oh, yeah,
I
you
forgot
can't
to
do that.
post something, man. I was like, damn it. And you get busy and you're like, well, I don't know what to post now. Like, here's a picture of my shoe. As I don't know,
I've never posted a picture of my shoe before, sir.
Neither have I, but I'm horrible at that. But yeah, if you guys are listening, you want to know more about Mike and his show In the Shadow of Big Red Eye.
Yep.
Go to his
shadowofredeye.com.
shadowofredeye.com. He's all over Instagram, Facebook. Are you on Twitter too, or X?
Are we
or
on
whatever
Twitter?
The hell
No,
it
we're
is?
not on Twitter.
No,
The twatter.
Yeah.
Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube.
TikTok.
TikTok.
I didn't even know we were on TikTok.
Yeah. Okay. TikTok, Pinterest, Instagram,
Damn,
YouTube.
I didn't even know we were on Pinterest either.
Yeah.
Jesus God, Jill, what are you doing over there?
And then we have our Etsy.
Oh, and there's yeah.
Oh,
yes,
we do have an
sir.
Etsy.
Tell about your Etsy shop. Jeez,
So
we forgot about
well,
it.
the cool thing is if you want any sort of Bigfoot merchandise ever, whether it be stickers, I mean, the coolest thing that we got right now is Bigfoot wind chimes.
Sweet.
You want a Bigfoot wind chime?
No. My wife has a collection of wind chimes.
So you
and I
need a
have enough.
Bigfoot wind chime.
Okay, I'll take a Bigfoot wind chime. I'll give it to my wife for
She's
a
gonna
present. She's gonna love it.
She's not gonna be happy with that.
She loves wind chimes. She's got a bunch of them. We'll just add to the collection. Sure.
Wind chimes. I mean, whatever you can imagine Bigfoot related, we got on our Etsy. It's a pretty cool place.
What's the name of your Etsy shop?
Etsy.com/shop Shadow of Red Eye.
Okay, Etsy.com/shop Shadow of Red Eye.
Yes, sir.
Find all kinds of good stuff, including wind chimes.
Including Bigfoot wind chimes.
There you go.
And desk art.
Oh, Okay.
You don't know what that means?
Don't know what
Look
that
it
means.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you have to.
Descartes. Okay. Sweet. Look it up. I have to do that myself. Well, everybody, we're way past time, but that's okay. Like I said, it's my show. I get to do. I make the rules.
Dude, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for letting me come and hang out with you.
Hopefully
Here.
can we hang out a little bit after this?
Sure.
Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Everybody, this is Mike Familiant. He is the Bigfoot researcher, the premier Bigfoot researcher.
I don't know about that.
No, what I do like about you is your honesty and your enthusiasm, and the fact that for you it's not all about Bigfoot. It's about getting out there and having experiences and getting off the couch and getting into nature. And I said, Mike Familiant, check out his YouTube show, In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. He's all over the social medias, everywhere. All you got to do is to take a look for Mike Familiant or In the Shadow of Big Red Eye, and you'll find him all over the place. Weekly show. When does it come out? I know you said weekly, but when? What
Monday at 7:00.
Monday
every
at 7
Monday
o'clock.
night. Yep.
Now, do you do seasons or do you?
We're filming our 9th season right now. We've been doing it for 9 freaking years.
And how long are your seasons?
A year long.
A year long.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do one season a year. So we're doing our 9th season now.
So from like January to December.
Yeah.
That's how I do my stuff.
Yeah.
I stop in November. I take the month of December.
You got to take off.
Yeah.
You got to take a week off.
Yeah. A month. I do a month.
You do a month?
Yeah, I do a month. Yeah. I got to have it. Yeah. All right. Well, every Monday at 7 o'clock on YouTube, In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. This has been Mike Familiant. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me here, Mike, or should I say, let me hang out here with you. I appreciate it. And I'm going to be catching you in Laverne at the library.
Laverne.
Yeah, Laverne at the library later on this week. And,
yeah, man.
And also we'll be hanging out at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival in May. So if you guys are going to be around at the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Festival in Townsend, Tennessee, be sure to check out Mike's tent, In the Shadow of Big Red Eye.
Hey, can I just say something?
Yeah.
This is what Bigfooting is all about. It's about meeting people and about connecting with friends and just being with people. And I appreciate that, and I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate what you're doing too, because we need more researchers like you, and not just people who are in it for, like I keep saying, their 15 minutes of fame. We need more people like you. So thanks a lot, Mike. I appreciate it. Everybody, Mike Familiant, check out his show on YouTube, In the Shadow of Big Red Eye. We'll be back later. Well, that about does it for tonight. I want to once again thank my special guest, Mr. Mike Familiant, for sitting down with me and talking about his adventures in Bigfooting and sharing his stories with us. And I want to thank you, the listener, for tuning in, and finding out. Before I go, just a couple of reminders here. For 20 years, I was using Skype to host my call-in number here, the Secret Bunker. And unfortunately, Skype is no longer functioning. Microsoft has decided to no longer support that. So Skype, as of May, has shut down. That has forced me to get a new telephone number for the podcast. So here it is, 615-492-4364. That number, once again, is area code 615-492-4364. You can call that number 24/7, 365. Tell me whatever story you've got to tell, and just leave a message. Just call to say hi. Maybe you have had something weird that's happened to you, and you don't know what it was, and you're looking for advice. Like I said, just call, leave the message. If you get cut off, I think there's a 3 or 4 minute time limit on the voicemail. Just call it back, pick up where you left off. Or if you just want to call just to say hi, you feel free to do that too. And don't forget that I am still looking for people who have had some sort of unexplained UFO or UAP experience, whether you've seen something in the sky that you don't know what it is. Maybe you have missing time. Maybe you feel as if you've been abducted by aliens. I'm looking for people to call in and give me their story. You can also email me, sandman@parareality.com. That's sandman@parareality.com. Call that studio line, 615 492-4364 and leave me your message. Hopefully I can get some good stories that I can put together for a very wild UFO episode here on Parareality. And look, guys, I am pleased to say that I have relaunched my official Patreon page. For as little as $1 a month, you can get commercial-free episodes and other bonus content. And for just a few bucks more, you'll also have access to my companion podcast, Midnight Syndicate and Beyond Reality, plus the opportunity to appear as a guest here on this podcast. Subscribing to my Patreon not only helps support the podcast, but it helps me to continue to bring you quality content on a regular basis. If you're like me and you're just not a joiner, you don't really know if this is for you or not, you got a week free trial before you have to pay anything. So to learn more or to join, just go on over to patreon.com/parareality. And I got one more thing, and then we'll be out of here. If you'd like to leave a comment about tonight's episode of Parareality, have an idea for a topic you'd like me to cover, or a story you'd like to tell, send me an email, sandman@parareality.com, or call the Secret Bunker at 615-692-1170 and leave me a message. Don't forget that by leaving me your message, you're giving me permission to play your comment back on the podcast. Also, don't forget to follow Parareality on social media. You can find the podcast on Facebook by looking for sandman.parareality, or you can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram under the username @ParaRealRadio. You can also find Parareality on YouTube under the username Parareality1, and that's Parareality with the number 1 out behind it. Parareality.com is the home of the podcast on the web, and it's also where you can find paranormal news from all around the world in the Paranews section. And you can listen to past episodes in the archives section, all for the price of absolutely nothing. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can buy yourself some swag in the official Parareality shop while you're there. You can also support the podcast for free by leaving me a 3-star or better review on whatever podcast app you're listening on. Your reviews help the podcast to grow and reach even more people, and I would appreciate it very much. I'd love to hear from you guys, so send me those emails. Thank you. All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed tonight's episode of Parareality. The next episode is going to drop a little early because the first Friday of the month, which is when I normally drop my first episode of the month, well, that's July the 4th, which is Independence Day. And I figured, you know what, everybody's got better things to do, like partying and fireworks and barbecuing and everything, than listen to their favorite paranormal podcast. So I'm thinking about dropping it a day early on Thursday, July the 3rd, 2025 at 8 o'clock p.m. That way you can play it later on. I don't know. Save it, listen to it a day early. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right to drop it on Independence Day to me. So I don't know. I don't know why I feel that way. It just does. So day early. Next episode is going to be on Thursday, July the 3rd, 2025 at 8 o'clock p.m. Central U.S. time. So turn on, tune in, and find out a whole day early. Everybody, I hope that this podcast opens up your minds to new ways of thinking, expands your consciousness, and produces a change in the way you see the world. If you wish to change, you must lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe. Hope you have a wonderful evening, a great weekend, and I'll see you early Thursday, July the 3rd, 2025 at 8 o'clock p.m. Central. Good night, everybody.
If you wish to change, you must first lift the veil of ignorance that has been cast over your eyes. Only then will you see the true power of the universe.